Still on mic.
Evening, everybody. Welcome to Ice Station Zebra and the subtropical Sahara, where Drew's broadcasting from, apparently.
Yeah, where I turned the central heating on.
I've turned the central heating on, but anyway, welcome to the show tonight, everybody. We've got a couple of news items to talk about tonight, and I thought we'd also try and on the fly, if you've got a suggestion for something you want us to talk about, we'll try and incorporate that into the discussion.
Shoehorn it in.
You are?
Shoehorn it in.
Shoehorn it in. Yeah, it's very good. So anyway, Drew, how are you keeping?
All right. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. It's been a busy few weeks for me, which is why I haven't been.
You've been on your travels, haven't you?
Yeah. I went up to Newcastle last week.
What? Newcastle, right? Yeah.
For a few days, and it's just been very busy with work and stuff like that. So I've had to have basically, I think I've only been here about once since the new year, haven't I?
Yeah.
So, and I'm on late this week, so I can't be here on Wednesday. But so you're previously warned. But yeah, it's been a busy January for me. So here we are again. I thought I'd better put in an appearance, so that people
can remember what your face looks like.
Well, sadly, sorry.
So what have you been working on in the workshop, relatively speaking?
Well, therein lies a story.
Right, go on then.
As ever. So let's switch to
the Drew cam.
Or I would love to, but there we go. Switch to Drew cam. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is the Special Hobby Mirage. Which, as
don't tell me you've fallen out of love with Special Hobby Mirages.
I've fallen out of love with the decal sheet in Special Hobby Mirages.
Okay.
The kit's absolutely beautiful. Getting the kit to this sort of assembled and fully painted was about 4 days work. In fact, it took longer to do all the panel shading and stuff on this than it did to build the model. But sadly, then you get to the decals. They are being done for Special Hobby by Edward now. With all that entails. You can see I've tried to strip one off already to replace it. Again, it's you can leave aside the the method of application that people talk about, removing the carrier film and all that sort of stuff. That is a side issue to the fact that stuff like this tail flash here, which is red, as you can see. It's just a really awful pattern on it. It's washed out. I can see white spots all over it. It's just a really poorly printed, and as far as I'm concerned, unacceptably poor. And you can see the same, but to a slightly lesser degree, maybe on the. Can
you zoom in a bit there, Drew?
Sorry,
can you zoom in a bit?
Probably.
Yeah, we kind of got like satellite view. There we go. That's more like it. Oh God,
yeah.
What's going on with those Israeli roundels? They look like they're low visibility.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
there you go. But if you look at that tail flash, you've got that kind of.
I can see the speckling in it.
You can see the speckling in it. The trapping. You've got that dark sort of outline.
Yeah. Well, that's the trap. Yeah, go on.
Which is a poor trap. Well, is a translucent
poor trap. A technical thing here. That's not a poor trap. If the red was dense enough, you wouldn't see the trap.
But it's just that's just unacceptable.
Yeah,
that's that is plainly unacceptable. As you can see, the rest of it is the rest of it is as a model. I think it all looks pretty nice, but sadly, so that has been put on very much on the back burner. It's not until something turns up where I can remedy that. That's been put to one side. I will be building the other one fairly shortly because I want to do one of the Argentinian 3 CJs that they got after the Falkland. Right. Because all the stuff in the kit to do it is available. But yeah, I mean, sorry, that's unacceptable, isn't it?
For goodness sake, don't trash the model, right? Because you've obviously got it to a stage where it's a lovely finish. It's just got bad decals on it. So I'm sure you can get those decals off without trashing the finish too much. And then do some other. But I'd hate to see that model end up the wrath of Drew.
It's whatever happens will happen. I'm not overly I'm not in love with it or anything, so it's not why haven't you used mast on it, Drew? Well, the thing is, I would still have to use the decals for things like the air brakes and stuff like that. And there's plenty of stuff that I can't use masts on, and I just wanted to see how they'd look, and I just don't think they're acceptable in any way, shape, or form. They're terrible. And that's from all the initial stuff, we're having this discussion again. From all the initial talk about the method of application and removing the carrier film if you want and all the rest of it, that's a side issue. It's
the printing.
The printing is the problem, and the printing is terrible. It's better than it was at the start, but that's still far short of acceptable. When that is the better printing, that just throws into sharp relief how awful it was at the start of Edward's journey into their own.
Getting Edward to print your decals is a bit like getting, I don't know, Nadine Zahawi to do your tax return. It's kind of like,
yeah,
exactly. So
and then at the other end of the scale,
that's a good joke.
Something a bit
now for something completely different.
I've got most of the markings on the Kinetic F-16 now.
Yes.
Again, this is just sitting to one side a little bit at the moment. Well, I've been doing some other stuff, but we've got most of the markings on, and they are they're cartograph. So that's including all of those, all the wing walkways, which I would normally mask and spray, but that's the kit decals. And as you can see, it's just
night and day.
It's the anti-Edward, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
You can see some, possibly there's some, where I haven't paid attention. There's some very, very light silvering around some of the detail here, and it needs some work to push some of the stuff here, into the panel detail and stuff, and work on it. But most of that is just going to disappear under a coat of gloss that's going to go on before I do the final finish.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an absolute non-issue. You can see there where it's, the decals have gone into all the detail and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's the let's have a look. Let the things like that look. And any of the tiny little bits of silvering that you can see along panel detail and stuff, when I add the super highly thinned coat of lacquer varnish, that will just melt and sink straight in.
Yes.
So, any silvering you can see on this finish, I know will disappear, as soon as I apply another coat of gloss to it. So it's really a non-issue. There are other things, because I was going to do this one in the overall dark grey scheme, but I let's just say some investigation as I was building it threw up a few things that I did that I shouldn't have done. I removed the beer can antenna from the leading edge flaps on the model, and apparently this aircraft is one of the Danish ones that has the beer cans on the leading edge, which is normally an F-16C thing, which for some reason,
rolls eyes.
Yeah, and it hasn't got the the kit doesn't include the reinforcing straps for the fuselage and stuff, which this F-16 has. So I've got some stuff to do that, but so I kind of defaulted to using the kit decals just to get this one finished with minor inaccuracies and all, just to use what I've learned from this model on the next one. So yeah, so that's been my few weeks. I'd hope to have something finished in January, but I'm not sure I'm going to finish anything in January.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm hoping to have something finished in January.
It's just terrible. One thing I did get this a week or two ago. I don't know if anybody's seen. Dispy are going to released a little drill about a year ago, USB charged drill. I've got one of those on the way, but while I was looking around eBay, I saw this.
Ooh.
It was about 25 pence.
Micro polishing pen.
Yeah, which is about £25, and it comes with so you get this little pen here, pen type drill with a USB charger in the back there, and you get this little collection of bits. And yeah, it's I've used it quite a lot actually. It's you don't tighten these up; these just pop, these just friction fit in like so, and you've got a couple of different speeds. It's not it's not a massive amount of torque,
but then it's plastic kit.
But it's for, so if I pick up something like, I don't know, say this fuselage for a Cobra, so hopefully you can hear there. It's very, very gentle.
Yeah.
In terms of the impact it has, but it does remove material. So I kind of think, I was caught out a bit because I thought the shank size was 3mm, which would fit things like the like PCB drills and things.
Yeah.
And I know the this by one is a 3mm shank fit. This is I think 2.5mm, so the 3mm won't fit. But yeah, you can use it for removing, surface detail and stuff like that. So, for instance, on these hugely overdone lights here.
Well,
So you can
dig
see,
out the. I was going to say, dig out the link for that, and we'll put it up on the timeline.
it's just go on and
Oh, here we go.
look for sanding pen, basically, on eBay.
eBay sanding pens. Let's have a look.
The thing is, it's so gentle. You don't burn. You're not gonna melt the plastic with it.
Sanding pens. Oh, USB sanding pens. Right. Okay.
So it might take a little bit longer.
Right.
Than sort of carving it away, but you can see it's coming off there, and it's not melting the plastic. And you can change for different bits.
What's the name of the make of that?
Yeah. That is literally it. Chinese no name. Micro polishing pen.
All right, micro polishing pen. Right, let me try that again. Micro polishing pen. Oh, come on. Micro polishing pen. Micro.
But there you go. That's yeah, like you say, that cost about £25, I think.
Right.
I think it's particularly good for getting into tight areas like down intakes and things.
Here we go. I think this is it. It's cordless electric USB grinder drill engraving pen, blah blah blah. £23.59, free postage. I think that's it.
Sounds about right.
Cordless electric engraving pen. I'm just having a look because these are all right. Let's call this one up and we'll have a look at this one.
But that's literally that's how it comes. So you've got a little with a little USB.
Yep, I think that's the one I've got here. So let's
charging cable that goes. But yeah, I'm quite favourably impressed with it.
There we go. Here we go. Bum. Can we all see that? Can the class see that? Yes, they can. There we go.
That's the same. Yeah, that's the same. It came with that pack of little templates and stuff that you see there.
£23. So that's £23, and then the other one they've got is there's one there for £22.29. Seems to be. Hang about. Okay. We'll put a link up to that, but that looks 2.35 millimeter clip heads. So yeah, that's about the size that you were looking at. I like that.
Yeah, it's very nice. I really like it for getting into tight little corners and stuff, and removing little bits of cleaning up small areas. I think it's really quite useful. I mean, I do like the I do like the Proxon. But that's a little bit more oomph to it, if you like. And I've also got somewhere hanging off the back here somewhere. I do have a Dremel, which is just phenomenally powerful.
Yes,
it's there's. In fact, I have to say I find it. I don't really use it very much at all. It's just it's far too powerful for most modelling applications. So
Yeah, I've got one of them, and honestly, you can kind of like it's a bit
Oh,
like
there
it's a bit like the drill from at the Earth's core. You can just kind of like go straight
Yeah, I
down to the
mean,
middle of the Earth.
it's a
Yeah,
chunky, it's a chunky old, it's five speeds on it. But it's that is for removing large amounts of material very quickly.
I think the word we're looking for is industrial.
Yes,
There we go. And that's another one. Electric engraving pen, £22.29.
Yeah, it's the same one. It's the same one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
although this one comes with a red thumb saying hot.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, Dave says there he only uses Dremel for actual DIY stuff. Yeah, pretty much the only things I've used that one for recently have been actual DIY applications. The Proxon is good because I've got the sanding one as well, which is a nice useful bit of kit, which is around here somewhere, but that's all. But yeah, I really do think that's a good little buy for the money.
I am going to be looking at one of these this week, and I may get one to add to the other electric drills that I've got and don't use. But no, that one I probably will use. So anyway, we just put a link up on the timeline. So go and have a look and see what you think.
Gordon J there saying, was Spencer at Bolton? Yes, he was. He was at Bolton today.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he was there with Jensen and all that crew. So yeah, we weren't. We weren't. No, it was too far for us. But actually, we will. Well, I'm just going to go through the timeline here to say hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Oh God, let's have a look. Here we go. Bum-ba-dum. Alan Richardson, Damien Munnan, Russell Taylor, Mark Ryan, Jim Altergott, John Patrick Houston, Vincent Murphy. That's all the YouTubers. That's the early YouTubers. Dave Fleming, Nick Brown, Dougal McWiggle, Hobby Time, Douglas Hunter, Dave Swindle, Andy Brennan, Ophir Cohen, Michael Stockwell, Andy King, Adam Cooper, Powell Krupovich, Sean Smith, Lee Suter, Brian Wilton, Darren McQuillan, Johan Fretti, Larry Russo, Mike Williams, scale modeler. Come back to you in a moment, Mike, because you've put something interesting up on your timeline this evening, which we'll discuss. Derek Clark, David Ross, Travis Thompson, Paul Cave, Carlos Ruiz, Dan Wood, Stan C., Jim Altergott, Paddy's Model World, Greg Woodbridge. It's like end credits to a Marvel film, this. Greg Woodbridge, Tony Surridge, Jan Volek, who says, evening, everybody, from sunny Southern California. Ooh, sunny Southern California. Ooh. Well, evening, Jan, from freezing cold North Somerset.
So basically the desert.
Yeah, exactly. As opposed to North Somerset, which is a cultural desert. Jim Altergott says, oh no, Edward Deckles strikes again. Yeah. Yeah, quite a lot of people saying, why would Downward? Why on earth would other companies buy in Edward's awful decals? Well, there is that.
Simple as that.
Yeah, Jim Aldergott also says, is it me or do the Israeli stars look a bit washed out? Just a bit.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Gordon J says, hello to everyone. I'm not long back from the Bolton Model Show today, which we'll talk about in a second. Let's have a look. Matt Lambert. Good evening, Matt. Jeff Baker. Jeff Baker's put a link up there, so I'm going to have a look and see what that is in a minute. Let's have a look. Joe Pestaglici. Hello, Joe. Mike and Penn Richardson. They say, good evening, all. Bolton IPMS put on a good show. We really enjoyed it. We wanted to say hi to Rob Monfils, but him and Ian seem somewhat busy. To all involved, well done. Great day. Do you know what, Drew? I think next year we've got to go to the Bolton show.
Well, it means an overnight stay, really, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. But I'm sure we can swing that. Yeah. So I think we should do it. I think we should do the Bolton show. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So well done. Well, from what I've seen of the photographs, yeah, well done, Rob and the organising team. That looks like it's they've done a splendid
Yeah,
job there.
it's definitely one of the premier regionals, isn't it? Without a doubt.
John Connolly said Edward kits were a joy with their decal options, but now they've shot themselves in both feet. Self-induced wound, that is.
Yes.
So we'll look. Steve Moore says my Despy one is not. Oh, his Despy drill is not 3mm. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
It was advertised. The marketing bump that I saw for it said it was. So, well, I'll see what happens when it comes.
Ivan Wonak says I've got the Despy pen sander, and it does not take. I'm trying to get the link up here. It does not take PCB bits. They are slightly too big. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll investigate. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Powell says found online on Amazon as Vzao USB engraving pen. And Dave Fleming says generic no name limited. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. Stan calling it $27.99 on Amazon. Okay. Dave says more influencing. Yep. And Mike says Mike and Penridge is going to say also our thanks to Spencer for the time he gave us. A great chap with some useful tips. We hope to meet you two at Telford. Well, that's three or two, one or the other. Steve Moore says, I'm loving my Despy circle cutter. Yeah, I was looking at getting one of them, but then because I've got what's its name? that thing, silhouette machine.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I bought the Despy circle cutter, used it for a few weeks, and then I got my first silhouette, and I've never really, I've never really gone back to it because everything I want I do on the silhouette now. There's Spencer, look, he's pitched it.
Yeah. John Alex Scale Modeling says hello, folks. Bill Clark says certainly look good. Scrolls down. Bum. Let's have a look. Russell Taylor says found the same. This is the pen engraver thing. The same thing on Amazon US for £24. Jared Watkinson says hello, modeling fans. Hello, neighbor. Theron Hampton says hello from Denver, Colorado. Boomer Diorama, Riddle Road, says I love the tribute to Louis Pruneau. Cheers. Yep, well, thanks for that. We did that last year. The late great Louis Pruneau. Craig Sargent, morning. Kiwis. I'm
surprised he managed to drag himself away from Fusion long enough. He's
exactly.
He's Mr. CAD these days. I think he's decided that working for a living is not what he does, darling. So it's going to be 24-hour Fusion CAD modeling from now on, I think.
Carl Williams says, hello, gentlemen. Where? Oh, here, right, okay. Spencer Pollard, remember him? He says, good evening, gents. That's my Spencer voice. Good evening, gents. Hope you have a great show. That's my Spencer voice. He's going to hate me for that. And we've got, let's have a look. Where is your spoke cat fried? I think he means where is your cat Fred?
Where's Fred? Fred is asleep on a t-shirt downstairs.
Okay.
It's
in his cat basket here. There he is.
It just seemed a bit. I wasn't going to wake him up just to drag him up here when he was curled up, looking, all ginger and cute. So
exactly.
Leave him to it.
Wayne Beatty says hello from the east coast of Canada. Lovely. Always nice to have people from Canada. Yeah, we're just going through this. We've now got a bit of a crossover here from people talking about Despy things and whatever, and the PCB shanks on the
3.15. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Dave Fleming says, when did Spencer move to Dickensian London? See, my calendar's all mixed up. I thought I was doing a Christmas Carol again, so sorry about that, Spence. And Rob Monfils joined us. Good evening, Rob. Yeah, Craig actually makes a good point. He says, if I can get the link to come up, let's have a look. He says, still use circle cutter over silhouette as much quicker. Yeah, I can understand that actually. Is once you've got a shape, a size dialed in, it is a bit.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is dialing in the sizes. You just spend all the time messing around with it, trying to get the size dialed in. But yeah, I know it's.
Yeah, and cheaper too. There we go. Right, let's go on to a new news item tonight, and it is when I can find what I've done with it. This was from ICM, and this is we've previewed this before. We're kind of previewing it again, but we're previewing it with a view to the fact that this is imminent now. This is going to happen. And
yeah, it's gone from is it going to happen to yes, it is to it's nearly here.
It's nearly here. This is their 35th scale, right? Get your teeth into that. Their 35th scale Sikorsky Sky Crane. Yeah.
Just I'm still kind of it is genuinely one of those kit releases that still leaves me pretty much lost for words.
Yeah, I think in any normal year, this would be a standout release from a model company. I think it would be a standout release if it was 48 scale. This is 35th scale.
Well, I mean, this is the thing is I don't understand. Had it been 48 scale, I'd have been, similarly enthused, shall we say. But I can expect, 48 scale is a handleable, never mind, it's still a big model. It's a, it's the same size as the CH-53, more or less. So it would have still been a big model, but handleable. This is just going to be gigantic.
I know, great, eh?
Yeah, I'm not criticizing by any means, but yeah, it's and it looks typically ICM is that it's hugely impressive. And there are already several boxings en route, including one with the daisy cutter and stuff. So
I'm having a look to see whether we may end up building one of these, Drew, in a kind of like a tag team build for somebody. So as a kind of installed demo. So clear your diary. But that would be this is absolutely. I mean, first of all, a 35th scale Sky Crane in any normal year / universe would be a thing of a marvel. The fact that it is coming out of Ukraine at this moment in history, is even more remarkable. But they are pressing ahead with it, and I mean,
they've pressed ahead with it. It's it's nearly here. So it's and like I said to you earlier, John, the thing is it's massive, but being a helicopter, as soon as you take that rotor off and store it out the way, it's not actually going to take up that much room. It's going to be 4 or 5 inches wide and very long, but that's not a huge footprint for the actual fuselage of the aircraft. High and long, but not very wide. So yeah, hopefully at some point there'll be the one of the cargo pod things that they carried and things like that. And I'm sure I've actually read that there are plans for a 48 scale one from them as well. So that's I'd be surprised if if a 48 scale one doesn't appear, and I wouldn't be surprised if a 72nd scale one does appear as well. I think they're going to, they go for this sort of thing.
Well, I've just been looking at prices, and right, folks, this isn't going to be cheap because it's a big model. It's a big model, and I think the cheapest I've seen at the moment is, ironically, it's Jadlam down the road from us, and they're advertising it for about £129. Now, it's very easy to say, oh, only £129. I do understand times are tough at the moment, and that is a sizable chunk of somebody's monthly budget on a plastic kit. That said, I don't think that's unreasonable for what you're getting.
I definitely don't. 30-second scale fighters from Tamiya are over £100 now. So I don't. I just feel a bit unreasonable.
No,
it is a lot of money.
I feel a bit queasy talking about kits that are upwards of £100 because I know some people will not be able to afford them. They'll want to, but they won't be able to afford them. And I understand that. It's a horrible time to be living in. That these things, these kits are coming out, and unfortunately, people have got to choose between hobbies and living. And but I would say if you are one of the lucky ones who's got the budget and want one of these, I would snap one up.
There, doesn't it?
It does, because it's also going to kind of like, you're also going to be supporting ICM and keeping the lights on there. So it just incroyable. It's my favorite word. Incroyable. It does look quite magnificent. So yeah, I'm keeping an eye out for one of these because I think this. It's one of those things. It's kind of like a signature release for 2023, and I don't want to miss out. Let's put it that way. So
I like it. I'm a fan, even if I would never buy it for myself. I look forward to seeing. I look forward to seeing what other people do with it. Shall we say? Especially because you could have an absolute field day with that exposed transmission and engines. So I
know some people will be saying, "Oh, there's not enough detail on the engines." It's like, oh, for goodness sake, you're a modeler, deal with it. He said rather brusquely, but
yeah, well, it's one of those things where lead, copper, and brass wire is going to come into its own, really, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's yeah. I mean, just my jaw is well and truly dislocated.
Very, very much going to be a build as if it's a piece of armor, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's that. I think that's the way forward with that. But no, it's one of those models that makes me giggle at the thought of it. Do you know what I mean?
Because you built one of their Cobras, didn't you?
No, I've got one. I haven't built it.
Oh, I thought you built it. Right. Okay.
No, I haven't. I've got one. I haven't built it, but
right.
It's ICM. It's it's going to be a complete quality package, isn't it? And there you go in the bottom right corner there, made in Ukraine. So, Viva Ukraine. Still doing this a year in.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. I mean, I'm just looking at that box up there, and I'm thinking there's some ideas there for weathering or whatever. Although they do appear to have the one of the wheels, they've kind of got a bit of a flat on it, but never mind.
Yes.
That's just me being picky. But yeah, it's just got so much scope for weathering, and goodness me, and and doing that engine in all the different shades of metal, and that's going to be fun.
Very much so. It'd be interesting to see the first. I'm sure one will turn up in due course in an Ericsson color scheme, because they have all the they have the rights to that helicopter now and still make it as a firefighter. But apparently they're very, very protective of their trademarks, so they don't like to let people use their imagery or anything.
Yeah. So, I've just noted. Actually, I've two interesting things there. Okie dokie. Two slightly different bits of box art there. Because that one's got like a Vietnam one, but then this one has got slightly different markings on it. So I don't know what the story is there. Which one of these is going to be the final box art version? But what is clear is 573 parts.
Yeah, and probably 450 of those are going to be in the transmission and engines. So, yeah, Craig Sargent there saying, funny how not long ago ICM was renowned for dodgy Spitfires. I have to say, I've built half a dozen of the ICM Spitfires and really, really like that model. It looked really good when it was built, and as long as you knew how to build it, I never had a problem with it. It was one of those models that was like the Edward Focke-Wulf 190 from 2008, their first 48 scale one, where it's just warped all over the place, but everything, it kind of warps into line as you build it, if that makes any sense. As you build it, everything kind of pulls into line on it, and I always really liked the Spitfire kit. Obviously surpassed now, clearly, but by Edward. But yes, and we've already seen that the box art for the CH-54 with the BLU-82 daisy cutter. So that's another release that we know is en route as well. So yeah, I think I hope it does good enough business for ICM to have made it worth their while. You know, I can't think that they've just taken a punt on this.
No. Dan says, I can't justify the price of it, but I can't begrudge those who can. I just hope the price is affordable for enough people to make it worthwhile for ICM. I get the feeling that I think a lot of people are going to. I think there is ICM have a lot of credit in the bank of goodwill at the moment, and I think a lot of modelers who can afford it will go out and buy one of those kits just to show solidarity with ICM. I think.
Yeah, and I don't think that's entirely the worst reason to buy it.
No.
I'm waiting for some other ICM stuff this year, and they will, you know, basically. I mean, I spent £100 on Ukrainian stuff in the last 2 weeks because I also got those two kind of slipped out without. Almost
a pair of sea sprites.
Well, yeah, because I got the. Hang on, let's have a look. So
hold on, lads.
Drew's so that was the first one that was released last year, which I got. Yeah, and then so that's the single engine UH-2A, stroke B, and then they said that there was others coming soon enough, and then these kind of snuck out a couple of months ago, and I missed them. So there's the UH-2C, which is the first of the twin engine C sprites, but still has a single wheel main undercarriage and a 3-blade tail rotor. But that's the first of the twin engine ones. And then there's the HH-2D, which is the first of the twin engine with a 4-blade tail rotor and the twin main wheels. You know, it's when it was really starting to come into its own as a design. But yeah, it's again, it's typically. I also ordered things like the masks, and they do resin exhausts and intakes and stuff. So I ordered those just while I was ordering. But yeah, it's just I'm not going to take out the bags, but those are quick. It's just a fantastic package. And again. These are about £28 each, which kind of is I suppose, you know, expensive-ish for a 72nd scale helicopter, but I don't think it's ridiculous given the quality, you know, that you're getting in the box. And I'm just hoping they finish it off with an SH2 FC sprite and an SH2G at some point with a big T700 engines.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's again, Ukraine. They are just they've just got back on the horse with gusto, haven't they?
I'm seeing that. I'm trying to find the link to this, but a couple of people have mentioned that ICM are doing 48 scale B-26 Marauders
Yeah.
this year.
Hmm.
I can't find a link to it. Anyway,
It has been, yes, it has been. They haven't officially announced that they're doing a 48 scale Marauder.
Paddy's Model World says ICM are releasing a 32nd scale Henschel 123, amongst other things. So that's, yeah, I won't say no to that. I'm just having a quick look here. No, yeah, ICM Marauder. Yeah, I mean that should be an absolute kind of dead cert for them. So just keep your fingers crossed on that.
The B-26 Invader or A-26 Invader has done such good business that they keep releasing new boxings of it. I've got 3 of those. I think I must get around to building one at some point. But I need to get a new nose. The one problem with that kit is the nose cone of the solid nose cone is too short, which is noticeably too short. So I need to work out replacing that. But if only there was some way I could design and print something to replace.
If only.
Yeah. But yeah, the Marauder is long overdue for a new 48 scale kit.
Well, funny you say that, because I've got the monogram kit, offs, and then about, how long ago was that, Derp? You got bits of fluff on your face, you stupid cat. 30 odd years ago, goodness me, I picked up the Eschi reboxing of the AMT kit, and I always thought that was just going to be like a bit of a kind of like a second best to the monogram one. Actually, the AMT kit's got an even more bonkers interior than the monogram kit.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, it's absolutely mad. It's mad, Ted, mad. It's just really quite phenomenal. So although there are, shall we say, there are dimensional discrepancies between the two kits, which makes me think that the monogram one is still more dimensionally accurate, but it's very nicely done though, the AMT kit. But got to be said, they're both rather long in the tooth, and I think a modern kit is overdue now. So
a modern kit from the likes of ICM will be most welcome.
Here we go. Russell Taylor says the AMT engines have the wrong number of cylinders. There we go. So yeah, and Jim, well, we'll cover this on the next show. Jim says, I have heard the HK models will release both 48th and 32nd scale versions of the A20. So we'll wait until we get absolute confirmation of that.
It's funny that you got stuff like the 48 scale AMT A20 kit, and I can remember that being released and all the excitement over it. And now we're thinking that's a bit long in the tooth. That could probably do with a new tool.
I do like that.
It's kits in our lifetime that we were excited about as adults are now looking a little bit long in the tooth. It's insane, isn't it? It's
well, think about it. Think about how everybody was jumping up and down with excitement for when Airfix released their Buccaneer close to 30 years ago, and then 30 years later, it's been replaced with a new kit from Airfix. So there we go. Right, we'll quickly do another one, and then we'll come back to. I want to come back to something that Mike Williams picked up on, but this our next news item is, he says, trying to queue it up. Our next news item is from Reskit. Now, this really did kind of like, this did tickle my fancy, although it's resin, and I'm not really a big fan of resin because it's got a bit of an allergy to it, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, this was Reskit, and they're doing an F-11A escape crew module. And for those of you who...
I think that's fantastic.
Well, I'll say for those of you who don't know, on the F-111, the pilots didn't bang out, the cockpit banged out. So there we go, F-11A escape crew module, and these are renders of what will be the resin parts, and yeah, again, I think this is these are kind of like these may be 3D printed and then molded from there.
I have to say, over New Year, I did get to look at the 48 scale ones they've done to replace the inaccurate one in the Hobby Boss kit, and it is just phenomenally nice. Just completely, absolutely stunning. Everything. The clear parts are resin, but they're on a sprue. It looks like it looks exactly the same as a kit parts, only the right shape.
This is the thing is that this I had to kind of go back and double check that this wasn't an injection molded kit, because everything about this has the veneer of an injection molded kit. Excuse me.
It's just
phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, this is, I don't know what the price of this is going to be, and it's probably not going to be cheap, but this is one of those things that if you if you don't want to build a whole aeroplane, build this, you know. And it's yeah, there's the stand, there are your clear parts, and then you've got there you go. That gives you an idea of the kind of the detail on this kit. Like I say, I'm not a big fan of resin, but this could sway me. That looks to be 3D printed, you know, 3D printed as in relief printed cockpit. And then we have, blimey, we've got masks, we've got photo etch, you've got a little decal sheet there which has got some markings and things on it, and there we go. Then you've got the seat. Well, this is why I said I think these have all been 3D printed, and that's 3D printed. Yeah. So we don't know. I haven't had time this evening to check to see what the likely retail price of this is going to be, or what the sale price.
I mean, bearing in mind the 48 scale replacement for the Hobby Boss kit is about 50 quid. You're looking at 70 or 80 quid, I would think.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a quick look. I just didn't get a chance to check this out at the time, and
Pavel, I don't know. Possibly it is then. I assumed it was resin, but yeah, the 148. I thought it was plastic, maybe mini or ICM. Yeah, possibly it was. I don't know. I just looked at it and I was blown away by the quality of the entire package. So yeah, maybe it was. But that's the thing, isn't it? If it is, that's even better, because you've got, you're getting this kind of cross pollination between Ukrainian companies where they're working together to release these products. So
yeah, I'm just having a look on their website here. I'm just trying to find it on the website. I can't see it right now, but certainly the 48 scale one was just short of $50. So I know that's unreasonable for the amount of work that's gone into it. So I like that. I like that very much. That like I say, that appeals to me, because it is a kind of like a kit, but it isn't a kit, and it's one of those things that you could probably, I'm not going to say you could probably put it together quickly, because I don't think you can. I think that I think you're going to be spending a lot of time on this.
This is a huge finishing exercise.
Exactly. Also, without wishing to get myself into trouble here, I did notice on the box art, made in Ukraine during the war with the orcs, which is, you have to admire their ability to find humor in what is a quite dreadful situation. But yeah, there we go. So that's Reskit, and that's a 32nd scale F-11A escape crew module. So nobody say to us, "Oh, there's nothing interesting being released these days." There is. I mean, that's quite amazing.
Yeah, again, it's not something I feel any particular affinity for in terms of wanting to build it. But I can't wait to see what somebody else does with it. You know, I think a quality, if you get some of the better modelers on the scene are going to do fantastic stuff with it.
No, absolutely. Right, now this was, talk about great minds think alike, or in terms of Mike Williams, he's a single great mind that we're just kind of like, riffing off, quite frankly. But Mike, this was on his Facebook page, and Mike had this to say. So apologies, Mike. We are going to post some stuff from your Facebook page onto our show tonight. But Mike is well, I'm just trying to find it. There we go. Oh, for goodness sake, Chrome. Oh, I hate this when this happens. Right, let's try again. That's what I'm looking for. We've got too many windows open, and it's not letting me not letting me do what I want to do. And this is what I want to do. Right, Mike says, having watched and thoroughly enjoyed the BBC series SAS Rogue Heroes, I quite fancy a crack at these two. The Jeep appears to be readily available. However, the LRDG command vehicle, though, seems to be very elusive. Yeah, that is now, because that's that was a thing they did with some master box figures, and they can be a bit tricky to find. Although, who is it? Who's doing some LRDG stuff this year? I'm trying to remember who it was. Somebody will jog my memory on that. However, I did. There we go. I did see this, and thinking back to Spencer's, thinking back 3 years to the beginning of Spencer's lockdown builds and his legacy collection. And I was thinking to myself, do you know what? I actually think doing a group build at some stage of British Special Air Service Jeeps, probably the Tamiya kit. If you've got the Dragon ones, go for it. But I actually think having a bit of a group build of SAS Jeeps, I think that'll be fun, especially as the Tamiya kits are so cheap and easy to put together. And, you just literally from parts to paint very, very quickly. And then the fun begins. Then the fun begins.
Yes.
Then the fun begins. So we're gonna eye that one up for at some stage during the year. We're gonna have I don't know, SAS September. I don't know, but we definitely will be doing a build around that. And whether or not we keep it to the Tamiya kit, or whether we include, like I say, the Dragon kits or even the Matchbox ones in 76th, I think that would be a fun old build. I mean, yeah, I want to be in on that. Let's put it that way. Especially as Andy gave me an SAS Jeep Christmas before last as a thank you, and I just thought, yeah, I'd like to come back and revisit this. So I'm trying to think who somebody in the timeline will tell us who's doing the
Nick Brown says Thunder models.
Is it Thunder? Yeah, it might be Thunder. But certainly the yeah, here we go. Jim, well, not that, but Jim says SAS September. I like it. It's got a certain ring to it. Yeah, and Dan once says, I picked up the Tamiya SAS Jeep a couple of days ago as a nice fellow from the Airfix, as a nice follow on from the Airfix Katie. It's less than a tenner and it looks very nice in the box. Yeah, this is it. The Tamiya SAS Jeep is a tenner, and I think that's remarkable value for money these days.
Yeah.
And you can get them anywhere. So yeah, I'm just trying to think who was doing. I'll get me brains into gear. So yeah, we can either do it as there we go.
September.
Yeah, Paul Dunham says SAS Tember. I like that.
September.
Sastember. I like that. Yeah, I think Paul has done it. He's done it for us. Here we go. Nick Brown says, just checked. It's Thunder models, and they're doing an F-30 NRDD truck in 35th scale. So yeah, so we can either do it. We can either keep it as well, yeah, 1/6 scale one as well. That's from Dragon. So we can either keep it as just the Jeeps, or we can broaden out to SAS. Sastember. I think that's got a ring to it. I like that. I think that's like, so we got plenty of time to plan that, but I think that'll be fun. I think that will be fun, and it will be fun. You know, I'm just telling you.
It will be fun. You will enjoy yourselves.
You will enjoy yourselves, yeah. But yeah, there we go. So that's another project that we'll have on the go. Yeah, before we get ourselves into trouble. Anyway, right. We've come to that part of the evening where I haven't got my bell up here, but I've got me
ding dong.
Any other business?
No, not here Wednesday because I'm working late this week. So
let rip. Go on, let rip.
No, I've nothing to let rip about. Everything's fairly chill here at the moment. So chill and chilly. So
yeah, I don't know. What do you reckon, Derp? Should I let rip on that? What do you reckon? Yeah, I'm kind of like he's like the kind of like, you know, the magic ball here. You know, I'm just going to say, and I don't want to end the show on a negative. I'm going to try this on a positive.
But you're gonna.
I'm going to, yes. And it's just this propensity that some modelers have these days of just telling people, I don't like your model.
Yeah.
I don't like it. And it's like, yeah, and you know, and
that's exactly it, isn't it? I don't like that model. Well, okay.
And I've seen this happen a number of times recently where posts have gone up on social media, kind of like highlighting somebody's model and whatever. And then somebody comes on and they go, yeah, it's overdone. You know,
the bigger problem is they always bring their particular brand of expertise to it. And as I said to you yesterday, John, one thing being a police officer taught me was that eyewitness accounts are the least reliable form of evidence you can get.
Yeah.
I will take I will take rigorous research. I would take Lynn Ritger's research into a specific BF-109 over that pilot's memories.
I think in this instance, it was just that kind of. I've seen this not just one person. I've seen this a number of times recently, where people have said, you know, if you know, if when I was in the services, if we had a vehicle like that, somebody would have been on a charge. And then you go, and here is a photograph, and here is another photograph, and here is another photograph, and, you know, and you just start going through the Rolodex of material evidence that disproves somebody's memory. But that's the aside. It's just having a go at somebody else's model without really having anything to kind of like put up in support of your argument. And why do people do that? I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it.
And then doubling down on their argument when they're proved wrong.
I don't understand why people would feel the need to. I'm reminded, right? I'm going to get into trouble with this, but I'm reminded of Toy Fair about 30 years ago when I was there, and there was a girl working for one of the companies, and she was being tied in knots by a group of modelers, and they kind of left the stand and whatever, because they were asking her technical questions about the model, and she was just a sales girl, salesperson.
Yeah.
And when they went out, when they left and whatever, and one of them just rather kind of like gigglingly and excitedly turned around to his mates and he went, "That showed her." And it was like, showed her what? Showed her that you're a really miserable human being to doing that to her? Why would you do that? And it's just, so yeah, that's going to end on a positive, because I know that 99% of the people out there are, decent people and they're diplomatic, but you just
It's almost as phenomenally irritating as posting up pictures of your model and having people hijack your thread to show their models on it.
I always do that, yeah. But yeah, I don't get it, folks. I don't get it, and I don't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We've got some good comments here, but no, I don't understand why somebody would want to go out of their way to cross the street, walk over, say something, and then walk away again. It's like, I don't get it. Anyway,
unless you're specifically invited to do so, don't miss an opportunity to keep your mouth shut.
Well, there is that old.
And if there is something you want to say, do it privately.
There is that old Chinese proverb of it is better to remain silent than to open your mouth and remove. Better to be thought an idiot than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, that's just a little bit of a rant there. Sorry,
feel better for that. Feel better.
Well, no, it's just we
only dogs could hear that, John.
I know. It's even Derp here. He's looked at me and thought, "What the hell was that?" It's just we're always conscious on this show that we try to be positive, and we try to we try to kind of like highlight the positive aspects of this hobby and the great things about this hobby. I know some people think we can be a bit happy clappy, kind of like, but I don't care. We to some extent we are trying to promote this hobby and make it inclusive, and and it's when people do that, it's like, well, what are you getting out of it? Anyway.
And some people went as far as to set up entire forums. Wow. Just to criticize other people's models without being invited.
Hey-ho. Anyway.
You started this. You started it.
I know I did. Like I say. But anyway, apart from that, no, have I got any other business, Derp? What do you reckon? No, I haven't got any other business. So right, so you're not back on Wednesday.
I'm working late this week, I'm afraid, so that's my shift pattern this week.
Ooh. Well, that might mean I'll see if I can rope somebody else in. If not, I might do a solo and might actually get on with some modeling this week, in theory. Depends on how long my long COVID is, but there we go. There we go. Robert Johnson, a very good point here. Very good point. He says, I'd rather help someone up the hill than kick them off. Yeah, very good point. Right. Tony reminds me. Copper State models. We did have some, we've got some photographs of some stuff from Copper State models. I think it was Tony who sent the photographs in. I can't remember. Let me just check. The only problem was the images were a little bit on the small side to actually share, because they just didn't. They weren't quite the. I'll just bring them up now. Here we go. Yeah, they were just a little bit on the small side to format for the show. So what we'll try and do is we will return to it was Brian Wilton. We will return to Copper State models at some stage, because they do some fabulous stuff. I mean, I can try. Let's put it this way: we can try. No, the images are too small. I think he took them, but he formatted them, and they ended up being about 300 pixels across. Or
Oh,
something.
really?
Yeah, I know. It's
Yeah,
a shame because they're nice. They're nice images, but they're just a bit too small. But it's got to be said, he did send me some news through of some new stuff from Copper State Models. Let's just see if I can find their website. And the thing is, they are a brand that I haven't. They're a brand that I haven't actually kind of had any experience with.
No, I know they exist, and that's about it, because they do a lot of World War One stuff and things like that, don't they? So
yeah, and I'm certainly looking at some of the new stuff that they've got coming out. Just one last try to try and bring these up, actually, because let's have a look. Come on. Oh, yeah, we'll talk about next time. We'll talk about Two Bobs. Have got a new they got a new F-16 press to test anniversary decal sheet, which looks pretty good.
all right. Yes, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that now? Should we put that up now?
Hey, well, you can do. I haven't prepared anything on it, so it's leave it for next time. Leave it for next time.
Leave it next time. Always leave something in the tank.
Indeed.
But yeah, it's let me just see if I can find these Copper State model. Like I say, because they certainly look. I've been aware of their. There we go. Yeah, they're just the images are too small. Sorry, Brian. That's a real shame. We'll share what we can share here, but they are a little bit on the. Yeah, they are a little bit on the small side. Let's see if we can. Yeah. No, too small. But they've got some interesting stuff. So that is certainly a brand that I am going to be investigating and investing in at some stage in the future. And yeah, they've got we'll have a look at that Two Bobs F-16 sheet as well. Yeah, I think there's loads more. There's loads more. And
there's loads more.
All right, Dave's saying, tell us what they are. Oh, God. Oh, right, okay. Let's try again. One last try. Goodness me. Come on. Come on, Facebook. Don't fail me now. Don't fail me now. Here we go. Right, here we go. Right, there we go. Now suddenly we've got an image. Here we go. Right. This was there we go. This is Copper State Models plans for 2023, and that is a 5.7 centimeter Gruson Furpanzer, which I would imagine is the little round thing on the cart there. A Garford Putilov heavy armored car, and an Auto Blindo Turney Tripoli. So, but they there we go. This is some of the pictures that Brian sent us of some sprues and whatnot. Like I say, unfortunately, they're just a little bit too small, Brian. But and these are some of Brian's models as well. But they really are. They look first class in as kits and everything. And Brian's finishing is absolutely brilliant. So we will. Oops, Daisy. Well, I tell you what they reminded me of. And when you see one of the instruction sheets, it's like I say. Unfortunately, they brilliant decal sheet. There we go. And it was get there in the end. Minerva, I mean, the molding is there. We go. What it reminded me of was, yeah, I was going to say, very much reminded me of Wingnut Wings. They are beautifully put together instruction sheets. Really, really first class. So yeah, that is a company that, like I say, I need to invest in and investigate to bring you a more detailed kind of detailed report, because there are some things that they do which do interest me greatly. So watch this space. Watch this. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? That's really like that very, very much. Anyway, that is Powell says, why ask for suggestions and then ignore them? Unfortunately, Powell, we only have an hour to do stuff, and we already had some stuff to talk about this evening. So we'll cover Powell's suggestions. He says no love for the M110A2. We'll do it next time. Don't worry. Goodness
That's
me.
AFV Club, isn't it? I think AFV Club.
Was it AFV Club? It was somebody like that.
Yeah. No, but because the British Army used them, so I'm quite interested in that as a subject.
Mm-hmm. And Craig says Academy 172nd scale Horton 229. So we'll cover all that on Wednesday's show. So what we'll do is we'll put together a shopping list, so to speak, of new releases, and then we'll talk about them on Wednesday, even if it's just me, and I'll talk. I
wonder if that HO229 is a rebox of the one that Revell released.
Possibly, because that's quite a nice kit.
Yeah, because it's a Korean tooling, isn't it? So.
But having said that, though, that was nearly 20 years ago, and it all depends how well the tooling has aged.
It was nearer 30 years ago.
Was it?
Yeah.
The Revell one?
Mid-90s.
Good grief. God, yeah, the mid-90s. Oh, yeah, that's right. The mid-90s are nearly 30 years ago.
Yes.
Goodness me. I give up. Right. That'll do for now, folks. We will be back on Wednesday in one form or another. Until then, big thank you to Drew for joining us this evening. There he is. And until then, as always, stay safe, stay out of trouble, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.